Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the DFS 5-Pack. We are here to talk some NBA preseason DFS. Exciting stuff. I got some stuff to go over based on what we saw yesterday. Hopefully, it plays out true today. It's preseason DFS, though. It's not the surest bet out there. I'll put it that way.
Definitely not, but I feel like I'm part of the peanut gallery right now because you are rolling.
All right. So we got an 8-game slate tonight. It's a lot to go through. You know, obviously, like we always say, it's a bunch of us degenerates trying to figure out what people are going to do today. I noticed yesterday that the backup's getting a lot of extra time. I think that is worth evaluating today to the best that you can. If you are new to the station, though, guys, please go ahead and let's start over from the beginning. Get the full screen. There you go. Hit that red button that says subscribe. Thumbs up. Always appreciated. If you guys want to sign up to be a member of the DFS 5-Pack, we'll break down every slate on a daily basis. Maybe not fully on the weekends for videos, but we'll have a write-up out for you every single day. We'll give you our core plays. That's where the name of the 5-Pack comes from. It's the 5 core plays for NBA. And then the other guys that you can kind of fill in around there.
Yeah, it's a really good strategy that I've kind of implemented in how I play it, and it works. I can tell you, I can attest to that.
Okay, so this is I played one lineup yesterday. This is what it was. Hopefully most people caught the second video talking about what the Bucks were planning on doing. Obviously, they pulled the Greek Freak, Middleton, Bledsoe. None of these guys were active. So we switched over to Christian Wood, who was a beast last night. We switched over to Malcolm Brogdon as really the only really good player left going for the Bucks. And then Dante DiVincenzo, he was okay. But those guys did their job. The big thing to note was guys like Steven Adams, Dennis Schroeder, and Paul George. Paul George was amazing, but he did it in very, very short minutes, which makes that a DFS score all the more impressive. I know he was playing the scrubs from Milwaukee, but still, to rattle off 37.5 was really, really impressive in the short minutes that he played. But most of the teams did this last night.
Yeah, it looks like Trey Lyles was big for you too.
Yeah, we brought up Trey Lyles on the show yesterday. Hopefully some of you guys played him. And I brought up some of the box scores from last night. Not very clear, but what you can see, like on the Thunder, like Schroeder played 17 minutes. Adams played 16. Paul George played 19. That's what I'm talking about, how impressive Paul George was last night in 19 minutes. But if you look at like the guys in the backups, like Nerlens Noel played 34 minutes last night. Burton played 24. Diallo played 40. And if you go over to the Nuggets, it's the same thing. They ran the starters for exactly 12 minutes, and then they dispersed the minutes among the bench guys. You know, Morris was a guy that we talked about. Lyles, Hernan Gomez, Plumlee. These guys all Welsh. I don't even know who he is. Outplayed the starters or outpaced them as far as minutes were concerned. Now, I don't have really good info this early on the day about what the teams plan on doing. And a lot of it may not even be out there. Like, you're going to have to make some educated guesses about what you think these teams are doing. Some of these teams have played more games than others. I mean, it's worth at least thinking about, but it's not solid for sure info one way or the other of how they're going to disperse the minutes between starters and backup guys.
No, I mean, it's definitely not. It's going to be hard to know. I mean, because it's preseason. That's all it is to it.
And guys, for you GPP players out there trying to get different, this could be a day where you leave some money on the table, because if, like Nerlens Noel yesterday, it made sense to play Steven Adams, and Steven Adams didn't kill your lineup. As you can see, it was a decent day even with him. But like, if you go to Nerlens Noel, that's the better play. He scores more points. He had a lower salary. It's going to be a little bit unpredictable, but is not the worst idea to leave some salary on the board for you GPP players.
Yeah, I mean, Nerlens Noel played double the minutes of him. So yeah, it's a great example of how it's much different right now.
All right, we know minutes are tough to predict. Now, that being said, looking through this today, one of the guys I don't mind spending some decent coin on is going to be Nikola Mirotic of the New Orleans Pelicans. It sounds like AD, Drew, and Etuan Moore are all out tonight. Actually, doesn't sound like that. That's actually been said already. So unless something changes, no Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, or Etuan Moore, which just opens up shots, usage, and minutes for Nikola Mirotic. Now, he only played one game. He was nursing an Achilles injury. He played one game. He played huge minutes, 37. I love the fact that they weren't scared to play him huge minutes, because that does make me think it's possible they do the same thing again tonight. Again, no firm report that he plays big minutes tonight, but with AD and Drew and Moore out tonight and the tail end of a back-to-back tomorrow, my guess is he plays bigger minutes tonight and doesn't play tomorrow. It's just a guess. It's not firm. So I just want to be clear with that. We don't know. It's the preseason, but in the game that he did play big minutes, he went 19 and 12 and took 11 3-point shots. without AD and Drew in there taking shots, he's going to be more apt to shoot a bunch. So I like the idea of playing Mirotic tonight. And we know he can be fantasy royalty when given the opportunity.
And like, so we don't know, like you've kind of said a bunch of times now for good reason, but like all we can go off is like solid thought process. And your thought process is right on here in the sense that, you know, the other big guys aren't playing tonight, should open up opportunities for him. He'll probably get shut down tomorrow because he is playing tonight. It just, that's logic to me.
Just logic. It's not a for sure. You can only make logical deductions based on what we know. And I think logically, if they didn't want to play him, they would shut him down tonight too.
Exactly.
All right, next up. One guy I feel pretty damn safe about is going to be the #1 pick overall. Listen, guys, he's going to be popular. This is your classic keep it simple, stupid method. 4 for 4 with big games. He's been awesome throughout the preseason. I feel pretty safe. There's no reason to rest a young man like this who's got the motor, the effort, and that they're trying to develop. You know, with Devin Booker not around right now, this gives this kid every opportunity. I trust him more. I put AD, but that's Andre Drummond, not Anthony Davis. We already know Anthony Davis is out. I trust him more than I do Vucevic or Drummond. Nothing to do with those guys' production. I love both of those players from a DFS perspective. I just think that it's a safer bet for him to get big minutes. He's not a veteran. You're trying to develop him. He's a stat stuffer. His rebounding numbers kind of suck last game, but that's because he only had 1 rebound in the first quarter because Golden State made every single shot. He's going to be chalky. Just get him in your lineups and move from there. I think he's the safest of the big money players.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely trying to get him acclimated. I just agree with everything you said. I see no reason why they would be, you know, taking him back, you know, resting him at all. You know, like we talk about with veterans, he's just not in that role yet.
Right? You want this kid to be on the court as much as possible. He is the future. And I like the future for Phoenix. It's still a couple years out, but I like the future. He's a big part of it. Let him roll. Should be popular. Rock and roll.
Yeah, and I agree. I like the future there too because they have young star talent.
Right? Like star talent. Devin Booker's a star-ish right now, and it's definitely a star in the making. And so far, what we've seen out of him, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I brought him up the other day, and I want to go back there because I don't think it's going to be a name that's going to be overly popular, and that is Graham of the Brooklyn Nets. They seem pretty dead set on letting him get this time and get his time on the court, getting him some touches and some shots and things like that. So in the first game, he played 20 minutes, 11, 8, 3, and 1. He was efficient with his time on the court. Next game, his stats weren't as great for how he was out there, but he played 34 minutes. Pretty sure 5 of those were in OT, so we did get a little bit of spike that way. But we've seen an efficient game and a high-minute game. Imagine if you combine the two. That's your potential upside right there. But it also gives you a floor because he's got 2 different ways he can provide it.
It does give you a floor, but it also, like, you can also have to look at the other side of it, like combine the other two, like combine low efficiency with low minutes, which hopefully doesn't happen here. But that just goes with that preseason and how many unknowns there are. I like your thought process here also. It does seem like they're trying to get him involved. And with new guys, while they're not rookies, you are apt to play these guys a little bit more so you see what you have. And he's really young. He's only a couple years into the league. So, yeah, I get it here for sure.
Yeah, they want to find out what they got. Are you going to be a part of the regular season rotation, or are you the guy that's going to be sitting on the bench and only getting it in scrub time? They want to figure out what they got here. He's cheap at the weaker positions too. So this allows you to double up on stud centers if you wanted to or something like that, or go after guys, you know, because the point guard and the centers are usually your safest plays. Like, I don't mind spending down at shooting guard and small forward if you know that they're going to get their time on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Next up. So this is a GPP only deeper sleeper. It is a risky play. I cannot stress enough. And this is what the hard part of what we do is I can come on here and say 5 times this is GPP only, and then somebody will come on the next day and be like, Holiday didn't even play that much. Like, duh, I said it 5 times. So please, let's go through this one. This is a risky GPP, probably a lower owned guy tonight. And why do we want to take a look at him? So this will be Indy's 4th game in the preseason. In game 2, they didn't give minutes to Oladipo and Collison and a couple other guys. They let the backups run. Game 3, then they let those guys go again. It would be a logical possibility that game 4 would be back at looking at some of the backup guys again. In game 2, this dude played 26 minutes, went for 23, 3, and 2. He made 4 3-pointers, and he was aggressive on his time on the court. He gets one of the top matchups in the game tonight against a Chicago team that will play quickly and plays terrible defense. So When he gets his time on the court, it's an easy matchup to exploit. Now, are his minutes guaranteed? Hell no. This is not a safe play. This is not a guy I would run in my one cash lineup. But if you're looking for somebody who's probably not going to get high ownership, this could be somebody that makes it down to your radar.
I like this call a lot. I love that thought process as well. Again, you've made it perfectly clear that it's an unknown, but that's what all preseason is. This kid's a good offensive player. I saw him a bunch at UCLA. So, yeah, I agree with you. We don't know, but it just seems like an angle that I don't think almost anyone is going to see, and I love it.
He played 4 minutes the other game in game 3.
I love this.
So, again, I want to reiterate, this is not a safe play. And I usually only play one lineup in the preseason, mostly because I don't feel like sitting around and spending so much time on it, because I know NBA starts in a few days for real, and it's going to be 6-7 months of just nonstop NBA research. But, again, GPP only, not a place I think a lot of people go.
Agreed.
All right, Matt, I knew you would like this guy. So when I was looking for my 5th guy, I thought this is somebody you could get on board with. So this is the 4th game for Orlando tonight. What we noticed last night is a lot of these teams around game 4, they start giving fewer minutes to guys like an Aaron Gordon or Nikola Vucevic, who are, really good players. But Vucevic, you know what you got. Gordon's still young, developing, but he's been around for a couple of years. This could be a Mohamed Bamba game. Now, no firm information saying that what they're going to do. But what I like about him, 17 minutes in game 1, 19 in game 2, 23. And while he's not been great, maybe from like a real life perspective, he's shown flashes. He's made some 3-pointers. He's gotten his rebounds. He's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, as you alluded to when you were talking about him a couple of shows ago, Matt. There's a lot to like right here. He could see 26, 27 minutes tonight. That would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, obviously I like this call. For all the kind of same reasons you talked about with Aaron Holiday, but even more so with him. Game 4, those other guys. We like Vucevic, his offensive talent. Obviously, he lacks on the defensive end, and Aaron Gordon is almost an enigma at this point because we don't really know who he is, but it doesn't seem like much is going to change. Bamba, I feel like, is the guy that they need to build around. He's really good. I love this call.
Right, and if he gets extra time, if he stays out of foul trouble, which ailed him game 1, this should be a spot where he could potentially exploit it. And like we saw last night, Denver played its starters 12 minutes. And the guys from Oklahoma City, like Paul George, I'm pretty sure they never came back on the court in the second half. That's a potential thing that could happen tonight. It's not a guarantee. I don't have the firm information that goes along with it. But we saw a lot of it last night. Tobias Harris was scratched late, and I almost had him in a lineup. Actually, I did have him in, and I only saw something on Twitter, and because I glanced at it, it was lucky that I switched to Gallinari. Just some good luck. I wasn't paying that much attention. Just happened to get a little lucky in that case. Like, we don't know what's going to happen here, but a lot of these teams are pulling back their starters now. It's logical to think the Magic might do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So the nice part about Bamba, though, is even if they don't pull back their starters, he's still playing. He still has a floor. He's still in his worst game gave you, 20 DFS points.
Yeah, but I'm with you, though. If they, unleashed him here and he played, 30 minutes, he could go off.
Right, and this could be a spot where Bamba potentially outscores a Vucevic. And even though Vucevic is still the better DFS player, if they only play him 16 minutes, which we don't know, I can't stress it enough, I don't know that, I'm just guessing. But if he only plays 16 minutes and Bamba plays 26, could outscore him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's agreed.
And that's what we talked about with leaving money on the table. And that's hard for some people to do, but I was shocked last night when I popped open my scores to see that I actually won my MLB showdown last night, mostly only because of Dellin Betances. But I ended up leaving $2,000 on the board because I liked Gary Sanchez better than I liked another hitter, 2K more. And so I played him. And he wasn't great, but he got his 7 or 8 points. And then the day when the cash line was 28, 8 points makes a big deal.
Yeah, right.
You leave some money on the table if it makes sense some days.
Yeah, it just doesn't really matter. I'm with you here because I feel like there just isn't that much information out for preseason. Actually, I know there's not that much information out for preseason NBA because I have tried to do my best to look it up every single day. So this stuff is invaluable. I'm going to use this. I'm definitely going to play tonight.
Yeah, getting excited for the regular season to start. So, again, thanks for watching. We appreciate everybody who gives the thumbs up and all those sort of really nice things that you guys do for us. We'll be out here for the next couple of days trying to rock the preseason as much as we can, but regular season is 6 days away. That's a smile. That's me getting psyched up for regular season NBA because I love NBA DFS. I like football more than basketball, but I think I like NBA DFS the most of all the DFS.
You're like an NBA junkie. I love the NBA and I love the action of basketball. Basketball, you like it more than I do. Obviously, baseball is more like what I. But you love. I feel like the Packers, and then you love the NBA.
Well, yeah, and I love the Brewers. What's weird, and I was thinking last night, there's been a lot of years lately where I don't find myself too involved in the MLB playoffs. Like I'll watch a little bit here and there, but I don't actually sit down and watch a full game. I've watched most of every game in the MLB playoffs. Why? Because my team's involved.
Yeah.
Like, that's not normally the case. Like as an Indians fan, your team's been in it for many years in a row. I've spent most of my life cheering for teams that don't make it to the MLB playoffs, which makes the MLB playoffs a little bit tougher to watch.
Much tougher because especially with the lack of offense usually in the playoffs, like it's a hard game. It's a slow game too. The games are slow because every pitch matters. So it's tough to be engaged unless you have a rooting interest.
Did you catch a lot of the Boston Yankees game last night?
I caught some of it.
Did you see the Sanchez sac fly in the bottom of the ninth that was about 5-6 feet before the wall?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't think he got it, but it's such a short porch in New York, and it just kept – the outfielder just kept moving back on Mike a little bit. I'm like, how crazy would this be if this thing goes over? That would just – it would be fun to watch the Yankee Stadium blow up. And I'm not a Yankee guy, right? Like I was kind of rooting for the Sanchez points for DFS because I thought that could put me in the money. Turns out
I'm not a Yankee guy, but I hate the Red Sox. So
see, and I hate the Yankees, whereas I kind of like the Red Sox a little bit.
Yeah, I don't like now that the Indians are out. I'm not gonna lie, I have much more interest in watching the Brewers and Dodgers than I do the Astros Red Sox. Although, not gonna lie, I will say that I think the winner of the Astros Red Sox wins the World Series.
I don't think
they're the two best teams.
Right. I can't argue with that.
I'm not saying it's a lock, but like there is something to be said for, we talk about this all year. In the baseball playoffs, like you just need to make it, right? You just need to make it because it's a whole new season and baseball is so random. That's true. But as the Indians just showed, like there's also something to be said for you're just not as good of a team as the other team. And that might not play out in the World Series, but the Astros and Red Sox are really freaking good.
I like that in the AL, the best two teams are there. The Red Sox and the Astros were your best two AL teams all season long, basically from the start to the end, and they're both there. So no matter who goes, it's either your defending champ or the team with the best record. In the NL, Milwaukee ended it with the best record, but it's hard to know who the best team is, but you can't argue against the Dodgers and the Brewers. You could throw the Cubs in there, but they had to play all those games at the end. But I like the fact that these could be your four best teams that are remaining. So they all deserve to be there. Like, we like Atlanta, but I think Atlanta was there before their time. You know what I mean? Like, the Braves are going to be good for a while. They played in a weaker division this year. They got to the top. We'll see them again next year, more than likely.
And listen, everyone who's not a Red Sox, Astros, or Dodgers fan wants the Brewers to win because it's just, why wouldn't you here? But the problem is, while nobody can, it's because of the starting pitching. So that's why it's like, I mean, that's why the question marks still remain. I know their bullpen is great, but these AL teams are really freaking good. So I'm excited to see it. I hope they can get by the Dodgers. The Dodgers are closer, like on paper, to the AL teams, but there's something missing about that team, in my opinion. Maybe they've put it together. Obviously, they made the World Series last year, so they're pretty good too.
All right. I give every single team that's left a legitimate shot, which is fun. Like the Astros are the champs. Boston was dominant. The Dodgers, they were there last year. Milwaukee's on an 11-game win streak and playing the hottest ball that we've seen in a long time. Like, everybody can be involved. And you don't know who it's going to be, which is just fun.
These days off, I'm not loving for Milwaukee either.
No, I don't like it either. I'll be honest. Like,
too many days.
Agreed. But they do start at home, which I think is big for them.
Huge. I mean, we'll see how they can start off that series. Like I said, for me, I think they can beat the Dodgers. My questions come in whether they can really beat Houston or Boston on the road also. And I know that doesn't matter now because you got to bit past the Dodgers. But trust me, once you're there, you want to win it.
Yeah, and I have my reservations on beating the Dodgers. That's the last team I really wanted to face. I mean, honestly, I would have rather played anybody. I felt pretty good that we'd be able to roll the Rockies. I didn't really feel so good about playing the Dodgers. So we'll see how it plays out.
Good right now.
Dodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're swinging. And Machado looks like the postseason's not too big for him, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, good luck today. Let's go win some money and see you guys later.
Thanks, guys.